Welcome to Shenkman Education. My name is Marty Shenkman. The topic of this video clip is a parent or any benefactor, we'll just call it dad, helping a child or other heir, we'll call it son. Dad helping son buy a house. Sounds simple, right? So dad's going to help his son buy a house, and son doesn't have money for down payment. Dad makes the down payment. How do you take title? Who owns the house? Let's say the house is owned 50% by dad, 50% by son. If that's the case, his dad now just made a gift to the son. Dad may need to help the son sign on a mortgage for borrowing money beyond the down payment because the son may be young and not have adequate resources. Very common transaction. But if now dad is liable on the loan and dad owns half the house, what are the estate consequences? If dad dies, this is now a probate asset. It's complicated. Is there a separate legal document that sets forth who owns what and how it gets divided? Often there isn't, and now you have potential issues with heirs. I had a conversation with a friend last night. His father died and had left money for one of the grandchildren to buy the house that he lived in at a 50% of fair market value. Not uncommon. It's been going on for 2 years. The family's still fighting. That's the problem with these seemingly simple, common transactions. They can raise lots of issues, and the last thing in the world you want is fights with family members and legal fees and antagonism so the family can never sit down together for a holiday meal. Not good. So another issue, what about insurance? So I asked Dad, hang on, a little noise. I asked Dad, how's the house insured? He said that son insured the house. So son's on the insurance. I said, but you own half the house. You have to be on the insurance too. He hadn't thought about that. If there's an injury or a fire or something goes bad at that property, dad, who has more assets than son, obviously, is now potentially liable and may not have any insurance coverage. Could be worse. The house burns down. Son was listed on the insurance policy as the owner. Dad has no interest in the insurance. Dad's not an insured because son bought the insurance. It was his house, kinda. Well, son may not be able to collect on the full value of the house because he only owned half of it. You see how complex this has become? Now, one of the things, let's say dad gave $600,000 as a down payment, and there was some borrowing for some additional funds. On death, dad wants son to give each of his two brothers $200,000 each so that they're all equalized for the down payment. Now, is that fair? You know, that's a judgment call, that's personal. Perhaps not. If dad doesn't die for 20 years, son's now had interest-free use of $200,000 from each of his brothers. That's not fair. If that's what the family wants, that's fine. But there may be a simpler way to do it. Let son own the house. If son owns the house, you could simply make a bequest of $200,000, that amount, to each of the other two siblings and call it a day. Now, what's better about that is the two siblings don't have to rely on their brother to make a payment to them. What if he doesn't want to pay it? What if he tells them, I'm not doing it, sue me? But if it's a simple bequest under the will, it's easy, not complicated, and it's made by the independent executor, so you don't have issues. So again, something that sounds so simple, and this is so true with so many estate plans, is fraught with problems. And while the problems today of dealing with it may take a little more cost and hassle, a little more brain matter to focus on it, if you leave these things untended to, the fights that can occur later can be dramatically more costly and destructive on the family. So there's lots of different ways to help a kid buy a house. We didn't even get really into trusts. Should the parents or other benefactors give the money to the kid? Why not have a trust owner? Put the money in a trust so if the kid gets sued or divorced, the money's protected. The value of the house is protected. Lots of different steps can be taken. So we really only given you, if you will, an overview, an appetizer of how to help a child buy a house. Lots of other issues and considerations, but hopefully the take-home lesson is you need to really think it through, and what sounds simple may not be simple. You don't want something that sounds simple and is cheap today. Rather, think about it. What you want is something that's going to be relatively simple and not antagonistic and not costly when it's implemented down the road, right? No point in saving a few dollars today for a disaster down the road. So think long-term, think holistically, think broadly, and make sure that what you're doing really does make sense. Go through the what-if scenarios, and don't just stop with what you want done, but look at insurance, look at taxes. Do you have to file a gift tax return? It gets complicated. Make sure you address all of those points and get professional help if needed. Keep in mind that all the content in the video clips is for educational purposes only. Don't take any action without appropriate professional help. Thank you for joining me. For additional information, see shenkmaneducation.com. Thank you.